out there. One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So, Bruce, why all this macho mythology?
It was something that I felt I just did because I had to do, and that was where I felt that there were so many people who had lost that part of themselves. Great musicians, great artists, great singers, great, the long line of them. And when they did, if they didn't die physically, which many of them did, much younger than they should have, they died essentially, or they died somewhere inside that just sort of cut them off from everything and everybody else that meant something.
But as a man growing up in a post-war mentality, did you want to escape something? Did it have anything to do with your father?
I really don't think it was anything as conscious as that. I think it was just some survival instinct. I really do. I think that I knew that the most important thing to me was what happened when I walked out, whether it was in a little bar or on any stage, and how it made me feel. I wanted to find some way in, some way to be a part of, I guess, a community that was either really there or that I imagined, that I dreamt of.
A personalized community, or
some part of myself which I felt was where I really lived and what really made me want to live, And so when I started to do Darkness, which most of the material on Darkness is confrontational. It's about somebody that he turns the car around and he heads back to town, for better or for worse.
Okay, but what really happened?
What happened was I got to a point where the answers that I found in some of my favorite rock and roll records, they didn't work for me anymore. I couldn't find what I wanted in a Phil Spector record anymore. I was never going to get married and I'm never going to have a house, man. You have a house. Once you have a house, then you're in, and when you're in, you're done. You're finished. Like, once you have anything, then it's all over.
And when did you stop feeling that way?
I guess I got in my 30s.
That's very late to find out, isn't it?
And I think if you grew up my generation, that was the dream. That was part of the dream of rock and roll. Was that eternal youth? It promised the endless Saturday night.
Well, I think that's very naive. I mean, individual realities, it's much more complicated than this.
I shouldn't blame it on rock and roll. I think that the times extend your adolescence and retard your adulthood. Live in a society in which youth is thrown at you, and in rock and roll music, it was just the whole image of it, which was initially the guys were 17 or 18. And
I think for my generation and in today's society, it's really, really different. Today, you're supposed to be global, and at the same time, you're supposed to be a teenager all your fucking life, man. And in all these great American stories about manhood and real love, then the conservative Reagan regime came into the politics. What happened
That's
then?
kind of where I guess Born in the USA started to come from.
Okay. The soundtrack of my life.
If you want to be a man.
What? Yeah, I want to be a real man. So you listen to me, Bruce. Okay? I'm growing up now. Okay. I'm getting into my 30s. I got my car. Maybe I got the girl. I don't know. But I feel really empty, I feel lost. My dreams are failing all the fucking time, man. Come on, help me out, please. Come on. You're the boss.
It all sounds corny when I get into talking about it, but the level of responsibility to be living in the moment at that time when 8 o'clock comes around.
Just feels like crap, like bullshit. It's
Um,
empty. It doesn't mean anything.
If you're doing it right, it should be fun. You know, if it's not fun, what happens
So-
when all these things don't work? You know, what happens when, you know, all those things just break down? You know? What happens when your friends fail you, or you fail your friends, and you are alone? What happens when you can't find the job and you can't find some place to work? And the real question that I asked and that song asked was, I want to know if love is real.
Jesus. But my dreams are failing all the time. Talk to me, Bruce. Come on. You're the boss.
And can you live? Can you go on? At the time, I didn't know. I didn't know the answer. I didn't know if you could or not. I know that isolation, to me, feels about the most dangerous thing on earth.